Marfoogle TV going live in 3. All right, what is going on, guys? It is Adam A.K. Marf, and this is Marfoogle TV. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff in a short amount of time. In fact, today's going to be a really short show. So if you have a short attention span, this is the one to watch, and this is the one to share. It is getting absolutely nuts. We just talked about over on Marfoogle News. We just deployed a carrier strike group to Venezuela. This is pretty out of hand considering they are attacking speedboats, and at the very least, it's overkill. All right. The 8 warships were enough to probably take out half the country, let alone to add a carrier strike group. It's pretty obvious something's going to go down. Everything that has been on the Venezuela side has been preparation and straight up telling their people to, they even moved Christmas to October 1st, I believe, because December they'll be in war. It seems like they're getting intelligence from either Russia or China or somebody, because everything they have put out has actually been pretty accurate as far as, they're telling us stuff before the United States is. But going into some of the other stuff that's going on, because Venezuela is tied in with Russia. Russia is, of course, tied in with Iran and North Korea and, of course, China. Everything is connected right now, so check this out. In first, British warship shadows Russian Navy vessel, and this plays perfectly into what Medvedev just said earlier. We'll talk about that here in a minute. In first, British warship shadows Russian Navy vessel in the North Sea under NATO command. Again, this is the first time that this specific thing has happened. A British Royal Navy destroyer has intercepted and shadowed a Russian warship near the UK's northern coastline, Sky News reported on Wednesday. The Portsmouth-based HMS Duncan carried out the operation under NATO Maritime Command, tracking the Russian destroyer Vice Admirals Kulikov, and transited the North Sea. A Royal Navy spokesperson said that it was the first time a British warship had operated directly under NATO command during such a mission. A Wildcat helicopter was also deployed to provide reconnaissance and visual monitoring. The operation took place during October 17th and the 19th with support from the French Navy and the Dutch Air Force. If you remember, that is 5 days ago, right when all of these different flip-flops were happening with the U.S. government. Again, they shot it 17th through the 19th. That was, again, when there were some really weird choices made, some flip-flops on subjects, and it felt like something happened, like they were figuring something out. And they probably were. We're going to talk about this and much, much more. We're going to get into the main story here, too. Active war, that is what they're calling what the U.S. just did. Again, Russia is saying that we just committed an act of war. We'll be right back right after this. Nothing in this show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect my opinion, Dex's opinion, or anyone else who works with the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. If you have not already, it helps us out if you end up going through any of our affiliates, and it helps you out if you end up protecting yourself against cybercrime. NordVPN is one of the best and one of the easiest to use. If you do not have a virtual private network, it protects your IP address, which is your online identity, which actually connects to your real address and everything else. It also connects to you. If you know anything about how they are data logging and basically getting your profiles down, you can prevent that by having a VPN. Nord is, again, one of the easiest. Download it. It's like an on switch and off switch. All you have to do. Go to marfooglenews.com/VPN. Not only will you get a giant discount on this, but you will also be helping us. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate everyone that goes through any of our affiliates. Can't say thank you enough. All right, we're going to dedicate today's show to Kale White. Happy birthday, Kale! And I didn't miss your super. It came in last minute on that Marfoogle News show, but we were going to get to that. Kale, happy birthday! And again, thank you, Funny Doers International, for bringing that to attention. Again, it's very good to have some youngsters that are actually paying attention to this stuff. It just shows you there are grown 40, 50-year-old men that are super afraid of all this stuff, where others are not. Heck, it is crazy, though, what even little kids now are even watching, though. like talking about 3, 4, 5-year-olds. I don't know if you've seen what YouTube shows kids. If you think that talking about politics is bad, just look at the horror, like literal horror movies and jump scares is what like little kids watch on YouTube now. Most of you with kids can attest to this. It's pretty crazy, like actual gross imagery, cartoon characters with blood on their teeth and sharp fangs and nightmarish images is now normal. So anybody that's hating on some youngin', I mean, by 11, heck, I don't even want to say what I was doing by like 10 or 11. I was probably shooting out windows and doing all sorts of bad stuff. So fall in politics would have been a really good change for me. Of course, when you grow up, you realize how dumb you were. So I'm super happy that the next generation is filled with some people that are actually going to make a difference. Thank you for a new member here. We've got, of course, Robin Worthmuller. Thank you so much for joining the fam. And then thank you, Fred Dominata. Thank you, Jammer1. And by the way, Jammer, I hope you're doing well. You said that you got an injection of antibiotic. That's always bad when they need to do the injection to get it in you real quick. So I hope you heal fast, Jammer. Thank you for modding. Ilea, thank you. Jason M. Schmidt, what is going on? Sean C. Let's see. Curb Creeper Preps. Wiz Jen, Kim O'Donnell. What is happening? Normalizing bad things is not good, Sean C. Yeah, actually, so this isn't normalizing. So what this is desensitizing to, this is the world. Every single person I've known that was sheltered when they grew up, I have one family member that was extremely sheltered. I was like 14. I was a teenager and she was 14. And I had like a literal like squirt gun that my mom got me at something. And I remember I ended up grabbing it from home, had it at Buca de Beppo's, and my uncles both, like my uncle and his wife both was like, oh, you can't have guns at the table. Oh my gosh, she doesn't know about guns. And I'm like, she's 14. That kind of shelter, again, in some cases, right when they turn 18, 19, they end up going to the extreme opposite end when you shelter them from everything. This is scary stuff. If you don't like scary news, don't watch scary news. Again, anybody is welcome to tune out, because the thing is we're not supposed to be scared about this. We're supposed to be prepared for this. Every other country in the world does not look like, just like how they talk about the French. You've always heard about the French, how if you've ever been to France, their TV is a whole lot different. You see things on French TV that you wouldn't see here. There's a lot of things you wouldn't see here, especially 10 years ago when we had, couldn't say SH word or any kind of word. They had a lot of stuff on there and they were like, hey, why hide this, or why hide bodies or whatever. As far as this goes, everybody thinks that we're supposed to hide this. Every other country talks about this stuff, prepares their people, prepares their country, tells their people how to prepare. And the one thing that we did during World War II that was good is they actually helped people prepare. They taught people how to prep. They taught people how to store food. And that was back when people actually had a good amount of actual skill to live on their own and be dependent without electricity and other things. Not saying that there wasn't, but when the power went out, there were a lot more capable people back then than there are now. Heck, you lose power now, people don't even know how to get around. They don't know their family's numbers. They don't know anything. I mean, and I'm not hating. I barely remember a phone number now that we have cell phones. It's bad. And that's not how it should be. It's the millennial ache. Amarillo Gunrunners, who's running Venezuela, China or Russia? I think China, and Russia is going to be the poster boy. But thank you, by the way. Thank you for the support of Amarillo Gunrunners. Of course, Shirley Millward, Chance, WIS Jen, and Bobby Sue. Thank you guys for thanking them too. Let's of course bring in my co-host/internet brother Dex James. What is going on, and how are you doing today?
Well, Adam, hello, Google fan. I'm doing just fine, but can't talk today. I was going to say, that's a great point. You talk about contact numbers that you don't have, right? Or that you don't remember. Like, it just made me think I should open up my address book and print it off, because I haven't printed it in a long time. And I don't even know the last printed version of it is. So I probably should do that and throw it in my safe.
I said to one of my one of my daughter's friends, I said, "Oh, I need to find my Rolodex," and they're like, "Why do you need to find your watch? You're already wearing one." I'm like,
That's funny.
She thought a Rolodex was a watch. But yeah,
But it's so simple. Like as long as you have a printer, I don't even know. I've never printed my contacts, but I can only imagine you just go in there and hit print and it'll probably print them all. Throw it in the safe.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and one of the big things that people should do is have all their preps, especially, people think that they're going to be, you're not going to be able to Google what to eat. If we really have a grid down, you're not going to have a supply chain for more than a day. So what to eat in the wild, like nobody knows that stuff. Print that kind of stuff out, put highlight it, put it in plastic wrap or whatever. A lot of people have books in plastic so that it's protected, because you have all this free information when you have the internet that people just take for granted. Like it's just always going to be there. Just last week, there was a whole AWS crash. That's the spine of the internet, or at least half of it. And it would have been the whole thing if they didn't have their previous crash, which essentially everybody's like, wow, every single company was using AWS, Amazon Web Services. And when it went down, the web went down. So they spread out to Oracle. And what was the other one, Dex? There's another one that does a big chunk of it now.
Azure. Microsoft
Azure.
Google.
Yeah.
Google.
So now it's spread out a little bit, but it's still a handful of companies that if an adversary wants to take out, they take out our entire internet. You don't have Google. You don't have Waze. You don't have Google Maps. You don't have, Google Lens to everybody now just like Google Lenses everything. Oh, you're not going to have that. Nobody has the depends. Nobody's even using their Abdullah Amgalagata anymore. All right. And then, Dex, do you want to talk about the drone wall won't halt Russia, according to Germany?
Yeah, certainly. So the Germany is basically coming out and saying that they don't believe that this idea of a drone wall is going to work. So, but the new initiative to bolster the drone defenses for European countries forming NATO's eastern spine won't be rock solid, according to the defense minister of Germany. Building the so-called drone wall is a very ambitious project, Boris Pistorius told the Times of London in a comment that was just published. In more than 3.5 years of full-scale war, Ukraine has transformed drone design as well as how they can be used, and counter-drone tactics need to try to block them. Obviously, this is what we've been talking about. Like they can just send 10,000 drones and they don't have the ability to take them out. Or if they do, they're going to spend like $10 billion doing it because they're firing $1 million at a time. With these expensive air-to-air missiles and other things like that. So, but basically an estimated 20 drones crossed over into Poland, as we talked about numerous times here. That is sort of the warning sign. Like, what does it mean that if it's just 20, but what if it's 200? What if it's 2,000? And we know that Russia has been building these at breakneck speed, especially the more advanced ones, the Shahed drones from the Iranian design, which also now North Korea has and can make, and has been manufacturing as well. So, having a defense system against that is critical, but it sounds like we're, getting some people who are talking reality. Like, is it really going to be solid enough and that it can never be penetrated? Because this is a numbers game. At the end of the day, you just throw more numbers at it, and it's really easy to do when the drones are so cheap.
Yeah, 20,000 drone, $1 million missile. The math ain't mathin'. All right, and then we have just one thing after another. One of the main stories of tonight, which, normally we cover almost all of the comments by Sergei Lavrov, by Putin, and of course the former president of Russia, Medvedev. But Medvedev is, you always wonder, like, what the hell? Like, do they have him say, these kinds of things? Because then they have kind of this, they don't have the same liability as if Putin says it. But Medvedev, the former president, which you can't put that aside, just said that we committed an act of war. President Dmitry Medvedev, former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev, said on Thursday that it is now absolutely clear that the United States, and he is currently a high-ranking official, he's one of the highest-ranking officials in the government there, was Russia's adversary, and the U.S. President Donald Trump's recent steps on Ukraine, these tariffs slash the sanctions are an act of war. Trump said during the U.S. campaign that he would swiftly end the Ukraine war, and his administration has cast it as a proxy war between Washington and Moscow. Remember that. The president said that this whole thing with Ukraine was just basically a proxy for Russia to fight us, right? Which, I mean, a lot of people called that from day one. Again, they cast as a proxy war, though he has recently expressed frustration about President Vladimir Putin. The president, who described Russia as a paper tiger, said on Wednesday he had canceled a planned summit with Putin. Remember, they were going to have a meeting, and they said, nope, not anymore, after like one flip-flop after another. And the U.S. Treasury slapped sanctions on two of Russia's biggest oil companies. That actually forced the hand of at least four big Chinese companies to at least forward-facing or public-facing to stop doing immediate business with them, at least until they can figure out how to do it without all of the systems break down. Somebody explained it to me that is in kind of the middle that actually does physical moving of oil. And what happens when they do these sanctions is it stops up everything. So even if China wants to go in, there's all of these checkpoints that they go when they're moving this big oil where they can stop it because of the sanctions. There's all sorts of logistical places where it stops it up if there isn't this thing. It's not just about the money going from this place, this place to this place. It's actually, it affects on how the oil gets back and forth. Because I said it's not going to last, or they're going to secretly give them gold or Bitcoin and start doing it under the table and use the new Arctic route or something to get oil to their country, and public facing, they're going to go, no, we're cooperating. The decisions taken are an act of war against Russia. And now Trump has fully aligned himself with the loony Europe. So the thing is, this is a high-ranking Russian official, not like hinting around it, not saying like the American prestigious are saying this and they are really playing with fire and nuclear flame. There's always rhetoric, but he is calling it an actual act of war. Do his constituents agree with him? That's the big point here. When you look at the history of World War II, right before that happened, you can see that clearly there was these statements made, all of these different statements made by the different countries. And I think it's really interesting. I was just watching, and I'm trying to remember who was president during World War I. Was it Franklin? I think it was Roosevelt, right? I'm pretty sure it was Roosevelt. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I think it was Franklin D. Roosevelt that was saying,
Wilson.
Sorry, was it
Woodrow Wilson?
Well, was there two different presidents? Oh no, who was president in 1940, right before the attack and everything?
Oh, you said World War II or World War I?
World War II. I said, I'm sorry.
World War II. Yeah, you said one. So two would be Franklin Delano Roosevelt, and Harry S. Truman.
You know what was interesting, Dex? Remember when we covered the article probably a week ago of China not only saying that they have the 61 missile. The 61 missile is supposedly what China's new nuclear missile. It can hold 60 warheads and one hydrogen bomb. So this one missile would be able to hit 60 different targets with full-on nuclear weapons and one hydrogen weapon. So wherever the main thing lands, it just blows everything out of the water, right? So, and thank you, Stealth Mode and others for saying FDR Roosevelt. So Franklin D. Roosevelt, go look at this quote. And this was in the Smithsonian documentary about this. It is very interesting that he said in one of his famous speeches, he's like, we're not going to be the first to fire a shot, but we will most definitely be the last. Dex, doesn't that sound familiar to what China just said about a week ago? I mean, it's like everything from America first saying we don't need to go involve ourselves in Europe's war to, we need to spend that money here with our country. There's roads that need to be fixed. This is literally stuff that's being said in the 40s by America first. Now, you've got it being said today. Then you have the president saying, we're not going to be the first to fire a shot, but we're going to be the last. And you have a Chinese high-ranking official saying, we're not going to be the first one to fire a shot, but we will most definitely be the last. I mean, it is just, it's so eerie how many different similarities there are between right now and World War II. And some say a lot of similarities between World War I. There's always an event that gets us in. There was an attack on 2 different ships before Pearl Harbor, and those 2 ships were by Germans. Pearl Harbor was Japan. So either way, we were getting into the mix of it. Then, of course, Japan, who was in war with China, ended up, we did that embargo on fuel. All of this financial stuff, most people, going about their 9 to 5 that don't follow this stuff, the people that are like, I don't watch the news, it's too depressing. Those same people are not going to know anything when this happens, when the lights go out, when their car doesn't start, when their cell phone goes purple with airs. They're not going to know what the hell's going on. But those people also don't really, look at when you gauge and survey our country on how well people are versed in history. A lot of you guys are, because this is your interest, this is your hobby, this is what you are into. But most people are the opposite. This whole thing with World War II, it is so eerily similar, and people don't really care about these financial things like embargoes and tariffs and sanctions, but that is how war starts. If you hit a country's money, you hit a country's power. If you hit a strait or any of these logistical areas where they control oil, which is money, which is power, then that's what happens. This is exactly what happens. You go to war. And this is going to happen. And I think that, right now, people can give you all the crap you want for telling them, hey, this is coming. And then even if it goes 6 more months and it's still not here, I thought war was going to come. Don't worry about it. It is going to come. And you guys, it's like, build your ark now, because that's what's happening right now. We're preparing for another major war. It's not the end of the world. It's the start of a new one. They're going to reset currency. They're going to reset everything. It is not a good thing. So yeah, Medvedev saying that it's an act of war. What weight does that hold? Before we move on, make sure to go check out EMP Shield. Again, this is one of our biggest recommendations. If we do have our grid go down because of an EMP, you want your car to run so you can get home. You want your car to run so you can get out. You want your generators, your trucks, your motorcycles, your boats, your ham radios, your Starlinks, your internet, your home to work. They have a device for pretty much everything you want to keep going over at EMP Shield. This is not a surge protector you can buy in any store. This is same technology in the same company that is outfitting agencies like DHS, DOW, Department of War, FBI, and Air Force. So make sure to get over there and get yourself one, especially for your vehicles. If you work far from home, it is a no-brainer. Again, marfooglenews.com/EMP, code MARF to save $50 off per device, and it stacks on top of any sale they do. Again, this also protects against CMEs or a Carrington level event from the sun. So if you're worried about either, this is, again, a no-brainer. marfooglenews.com/EMP, code MARF. All right. And then, Dex, let's talk about the overnight drone attack that hit Moscow, this high-rise that ended up getting hit a bunch of times.
Yeah, so they're, again, not major damage, not taking out, any significant infrastructure or anything, but still striking in the suburbs of Moscow, striking in Moscow, in the capital. So again, these are with the drones, the long-range drones, not with, Tomahawk missiles that they don't have, or with the UK missile, Storm Shadow, as it's called. So it's none of those. It's just the drones. So, but that's not to dismiss it. It's still an attack. And if this happened in New York City, we would be really upset, or in DC or any other city. So, but Ukraine drones have once again reached Moscow area, far away from the border, at a moment the Kremlin is strongly warning against Washington about allowing the transfer of the U.S. Tomahawk missiles to Kiev. The attack on Moscow suburb was part of a broader wave of overnight drone attacks, which hit multiple regions across the country, injuring at least 5 people, including a child, when the drone slammed into an apartment building near Moscow. So it hit like the 14th floor apartment of the high-rise building in Krasnogorsk. I'm sure I'm butchering that, which is in the northwest suburb area or urban area of the capital there in Moscow.
Looking at both sides, why'd they hit an apartment building? This isn't this. If this was the other way around, it would be a major problem. If anytime they hit a Ukrainian, any kind of residential area, this is straight up. This is like, you can't hit a broadside of a barn. Did they just lose signal and go, we'll just hit a residential apartment building? I mean, if it's true that they actually took out a family, That's, these are the Russian people, not the Russian government. So I don't agree with
Well,
it on both sides.
yeah, well, you also have to wonder how much targeting do they actually have with these drones at such a long range? Are they just trying to get in the city? Were they targeting, a government building that was down the street and they just missed? Or were they just so flippant? They're just like, send it anywhere in the city. We don't care. We're just trying to, upset the population there because that will harm Putin.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, if it wasn't strategic, like taking out a government facility or a military facility, then it is kind of,
Well, the guy with the family could
not
have been
necessarily a good thing.
a ranking official too. I mean, look at how the picture of it. They took out one specific apartment, like two different. Well, it probably went in, blasted out the windows for that apartment, but it looks like, was that a targeted attack? Or was it super accurate and it got that family, but that was somebody important? We don't know. And Russia wouldn't admit it too if it took out one of their generals or something. If we see something in the next couple of days, like, oh, this general's missing right now, then we'll figure it out. 6 Britons acting for Wagner Group jailed. Dex, do you want to talk about this? And apparently they did some sort of arson attack on a UK warehouse, and they're attaching them to Wagner.
Yeah, certainly. And just one last comment on the other part. Putin is pushing for this notion of an overwhelming response. So we'll have to see what that really means. He's a man of lots of words, but when you see these deep strikes in there, it can sometimes yield a big response, especially with the failed negotiations that are going on right now. As far as the Britons in the UK, we've talked about these different types of fire events that have happened that they have loosely blamed Russia for as these hybrid tactics, as they call them. Everything from the DHL airlines with potential exploding packages on them to buildings that have been burnt to the ground. Well, in this particular case, 6 Britons were acting for Russia's Wagner Group, have been jailed for setting fire to a London warehouse storing humanitarian aid for Ukraine. So again, they're pinning this on the Wagner Group, which then pins it on Russia, which now gives them, a clear finger point directly back to Russia as far as what is happening with these these types of events and these hybrid warfare, as they call it.
Yeah, so we'll update it if there's any other news that comes out of this. We'll of course update you as it comes out. And then Trump and Kim Jong-un should make bold decision to meet during his Asia trip, South Korean official says. Now, I have my side crazy theory is that South Korea has had a regime change, and that regime change was not the U.S., that it was done by China. Not going to go into the full explanation, but the president getting replaced, I think, and then this new president saying, we're going to totally work with North Korea now, considering the old president said that China was infiltrating and got ousted out for declaring martial law. Like for real martial law, because he said, hey, there's people taking over our country. And then he was humiliated, made look like he was crazy, even though when you look at his degrees, the guy was an absolute shoo-in for the prime minister or president because he was qualified. Go look at that former president that was a crazy nutso for declaring martial war or martial law. It's like, yeah, they can smear anybody. But now you have this South Korean official saying, yeah, they should totally make a bold decision to meet. I just wonder what the hell is going on in South Korea. Most people don't care about it, but this is super important because North Korea and South Korea, we back South Korea. So any kind of thing goes off there, we're backing up South Korea. We're currently backing up Ukraine, Venezuela, and Guyana. We have a promise with Guyana. Iran and Israel. Well, of course, Israel. China and China and Taiwan. We're potentially going to fully back Taiwan. Definitely with China and not the Philippines. Yeah, with the Philippines. So you've got all of these wars. If they all pop off at the same time, we cannot handle that war. They say that we can handle 1.5 peer-to-peer wars. So that means we can handle China. We can handle Russia. We can't handle both. Imagine if we're split up and we've got, Navy all over the world trying to put out fires, and then they hit the heart of the United States with, I don't know, say, out of uniform soldiers that are setting up in every major city, setting up spy stations in all the metropolitan areas, that are setting up systems that take hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars to take out our cell systems. They have actual radios embedded into our grid. That's, again, something they found in one of our transformers that was part of the renewable energy plan. And then millions and millions of people came in over the last 4 years, and anybody with eyes and common sense could see that, let's invite everybody. You send 10 million in, 10,000 of them are troops. It's going to be pretty easy for those 10,000 troops to get through when everybody's running. Oh, grab me. And then, maybe 1 out of 30 of those troops got caught. But even if they did get caught at the border, they said, oh, yeah, well, we're not going to do a background check right now. We'll give you a court date and we'll send you on your way. And here's a plane ticket to whatever sanctuary state you want to go to. You're going to have to wing it, and you're going to have to rough it in a 5-star hotel. You're also going to get some food. We'll give you food stamps too. Did you want a credit card or a debit card? Okay. All right. You pulled my arm. Here's a debit card. Oh, here's shuttles to and from Walmart. We'll get you some nice, you guys like the really high thread count beds, right? Oh, yeah, let's give them a couple extra dollars, actually. Just saying. And in all of the states where they ban asking your immigration status, I don't know, it seems kind of coincident. And then all, the evidence of muckraker, groups of 40, 18 to 25-year-old males from a certain country, buzz cut hair and fatigues, all straight up just looking like they got out of boot camp. But, what do we know? We're idiots. Japan has a new leader, and she's a heavy metal drummer. That's what they want to point out. But again, Japan has a new leader that's a heavy metal drummer. Some are quoting Idiocracy. It's like from heavy metal drummer to prime minister. It is 2025, so nothing is a surprise. I'll pull this up right quick. So this is Japan's new prime minister. I'll show you here. Let me see. Yeah, so this is her right here. Let's see. That's her, and she was a part of a certain party, and this is important. She was a protege of Shinzo Abe. If you don't know who Shinzo Abe is, Shinzo Abe was taken out with a homemade shoddy under super sus, situation where it was somebody that was related to his church, and the guy said that the church screwed over his mother or something, and he homemade a shoddy and took him out at a speech, a very tiny speech, got right behind him and went pop, pop, took him out. Well, very, very, very odd, considering within a week and a half of Shinzo Abe getting taken out, his party was the one who supported not only being a war-first country, but actually getting back not on the defensive tip, but on the offensive tip. And their constitution is changing because of his death. Now, just a few short years later, when everybody calms down, the dust settles, now you've got people in that party running the show. Whether she's a heavy metal drummer or not, I don't really care what she did, and that's pretty cool, actually. But the thing I'm paying attention to is who she was the protege of. Dex, I think it's really interesting that this was a protege of Shinzo Abe, considering his death brought upon the constitution change, which is having their self-defense force, which was only going to attack somebody if they attacked them. Basically, their entire country was a stand your ground law. And now they're going to be, now they are all over the world. They're going through straits by China. They're going through the Taiwan Strait with their carriers and their warships. I don't know. Seems a little odd. Dex, what did you think?
Well, Tsunai Takaichi, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, it's funny that's what they want to do, is they want to point out, like, oh, she likes Iron Maiden and she was a drummer when she was young. Like, she wasn't even a professional musician. She just was a amateur, right? That's like that's not the important part. The important stuff is, you know, all the things she actually accomplished afterwards and how she, rose to power and who she, is a protege of. And that the fact that she is, going to take the country in the direction, as they refer to it, the direction of the right side, similar to the way President Trump is here in America, based on the fact that she is a protege of Shinzo Abe. So, and that definitely is a position of military strength, and economic alliance with the U.S. would be first and foremost, you would think, as well as moving away from that defensive positioning to that offensive positioning that they've had ever since the end of World War II.
Yep. I mean, this is just, it's like every little thing plays into the crazy, crazy theories that I think are just kind of common sense things. But before we move on, make sure to go check out My Patriot Supply if you don't have food and water on hand. This is freeze-dried food that will last up to 25 years. So this will be good until 2050. In fact, it could end up lasting longer than that. This is, again, freeze-dried food is a great way to preserve most of the nutrients and most of the flavor in a food. It, again, is going to store longer than dehydrated. And you just add water or cook in sauce, and boom, you've got yourself a meal, and it brings it back to life. Go to marfooglenews.com/prep. They have insane deals on the 1 month and 3 months. It is always rotating, whether it be the 1 month or the 3 month. They also have 3-day kits if you want just a 3-day go bag kit. But again, make sure to go check out the 1 month. It is incredibly, incredibly affordable. You're talking about 3 months of food for one person, a month and a half for two people if you split it, or a month for three people. That's something, when you look at the price, you're going to be absolutely flabbergasted compared to what you're spending at the grocery store every week. I'm not recommending it whatsoever because freeze-dried food is not gourmet. Some of it is, but it's not like a 5-star restaurant. But I will say this, I bet you there's some people that are getting stuff like this and living off of it at this point because of the prices of food. Go to marfooglenews.com/prep and make sure to use that link because you don't have to use a code. It will automatically not only give us credit, it will get you a giant, giant discount on either the 1 month or the 3 month, depending on the timing. All right. And then shocking moment, U-Haul truck attempts to ram California Coast Guard checkpoint hours after the anti-ICE protests. Remember, and what area was this in? I know that they just canceled the deployment of the National Guard to San Francisco. What was up with this? This is down in Alameda?
Yeah, it's in Alameda. So it's that island. It's called Coast Guard Island. And you can zoom out if you want. But you can see that bridge. There's like one bridge onto the island. I'm pretty sure that's where it is, looking at the photograph that's in the article. But yeah, this erratic U-Haul was driving very deranged-like. And, then at some point decided just to start backing into the checkpoint at what appears to be, in a dangerous manner. And they literally had to open fire, live fire against this vehicle. So I don't think they said if anybody was actually, obviously they did say that none of the military or any of the officers were harmed or hurt. I don't recall if they said anything happened with the driver yet. But obviously these are the types of things we just got done talking yesterday. I think it was about somebody that rammed the gates at DC, right?
Yeah, the White House.
At the White House, right? So yeah, stuff's just it's escalating in all different directions right now.
Yeah, they did cancel the deployment to San Francisco because the mayor essentially said, hey, give us a chance. We'll try to handle this on our own. So the president said, okay, we'll give you a chance. So it doesn't mean that they're not going to deploy there. It just means they're giving them a second to do it. And of course, everybody has a side theory on what's really going on with that as well. Yeah. After the president said that there were domestic threats not in uniform, foreign and domestic threats not in uniform, and talked about an invasion from within. I mean, like, do people need helmets? Like, they're straight up saying that there's soldiers in our country without uniforms, an invasion from within. And everybody's, oh, Flasher, he's talking about the people just trying to get a better life in America. No, I think it's not. I think that's the cover for what is going on right now. We are in a war with multiple countries right now. Right now, it is the cyber info, obviously misinformation, and it's going to get kinetic. All right. And U.S. deploys the Ford Carrier Strike Group to combat narco terror in Western Hemisphere. So they're going down to Venezuela with, to join the 8 warships down by Venezuela. They keep talking about an imminent land attack. They are talking about Maduro. He is attached to this narco-terrorist group, so they do not need to go through Congress. They just clamp down on Congress, what Congress can actually find out about what they're doing. They just clamped the reporters out of the Pentagon. Even the reporter that is left, the one lonely guy like the Maytag repairman, that guy can only stay in one room and can't walk around the Pentagon anymore. So there's something happening, something massive, and when it happens, I'm going to tell you I told you so, and you guys are like, oh, you're going to say I told you so now? Oh, that's not humble. Well, guess what? There's so many people that could have been prepped for this, that could have been prepped over the last 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years, that just got a little bit at a time. $5 a week, you could have prepped yourself so good that you're almost tying with Zuckerberg in his Hawaii bunker. But people were going to wait until the last minute to figure this stuff out. It doesn't take a carrier strike group and 8 warships, 10,000 troops, attack helicopters, Chinooks, Black Hawk helicopters, a squadron of the most capable aviation experts in the world that just got shipped down there. It doesn't take that to take out speedboats. Sorry, guys. I don't believe it. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you, Surviving 28 Labs. Thank you so much for joining as a member. I appreciate that. Marfoogle, do a video on Palantir, but be watchful. They may pull the vid. I heard about that, actually. I have a couple of friends that did had labels and shadowed their videos on that. I mean, it's not like they're not going to detect it right away. It's Palantir. No, we talk about them all the time. And what's up with who's the main guy at Palantir? They did a thing on South Park even about him. I'm blanking on his name, Dex. The main guy from Palantir, the billionaire.
Oh, yeah, Peter Thiel.
Yeah, Peter Thiel's talking about the Antichrist coming back. Like, what the hell? Dex, we covered that. Do you remember that? It's
yeah, he has like these private meetings with the, rich or elite or however you want to say it, and talks about that in his Christian beliefs and talks about the Antichrist and all that. Yeah.
I just think it's pretty crazy that he's, shouting out that the Antichrist is coming back. You've got some of the richest people in the world snapping up gold like there's no tomorrow, building bunkers. Yeah. Stephen McMahon, well, it's been great knowing you all. If it does go down this weekend, I think it's going to be next year. I think it's going to be next year around the same time. I think that's going to be the October surprise, or in December of this year. I think December's, if you look throughout history, it's kind of funny because not funny, I'm sorry. It always lines up after all of the holidays, after all of the main holidays, they make the big decisions, and they may have already made that decision, and that's why they're lining up the military, turning it lethal, calling all the generals home. So December might be one to remember. And make sure to also go check out Energy, one of the best solar generators on the market, marfooglenews.com/energy, and make sure to use code Marfoogle, reinforced with steel frames and heaters built into every battery. marfooglenews.com/energy, and make sure to use the code Marfoogle. Thank your mods, dropping them in the chat right now. Again, thank you for all the people. Peter Thiel, Diane Kelly, TL Orca, Wing It with Ethan, Carol, Nanny Anderson, Paul Panda, Still Mojab, Paul, thank you, Cameron, Mainframe, Rob McBride, Tree Hookers. And we're just going to do a short shoutro after this. So join us. I'm going to be definitely thanking, of course, Jane from Tennessee. Thank you so much. And definitely going to be thanking Survival 28 Labs. Hi, Marf, Dex, and Marfoogle fam. I have a favor to ask. Looking to get reach of a friend battling cancer. Just asking. So, again, you guys talk to our mods about that. I got to know about it before I get, bombarded on screen. But thank you so much for the support. And again, thank you for supporting Independent. It depends on if, I think that might be workable. If petition-wise, that might be workable. Again, thank you. Survival 28, email dex@marfooglenews.com and email adam@marfooglenews.com. Be happy to support a good cause. As far as a petition thing, if it's for cancer, you guys, Surviving 28 Labs, I don't know if you know, but one of my best friends, I took him to every appointment for 6 months. He had esophageal cancer that then, it was so lame. They were going to take out a part of his esophagus. When they went in and he was 52, they cracked his chest open. They even detected this before with the radiology. They saw a black thing on his liver, and they thought it was kidney stones or something. Well, they cracked his chest open to do the esophageal removal or the chunk, and then by the time they did, they saw the liver, and the liver, it had metastasized, and once it's in the no, that's what it was. The cancer was dead in his liver. The cancer was dead from the radiation, but it was still cancer. And once it's gone to your liver, that means that it's basically metastasized to the rest of your body. And because they opened up and cracked his entire chest, he had to then spend 6 weeks healing from that. So he couldn't do radiation during that 6 weeks or couldn't do any further treatment. So what happened is as he was healing in the 6 weeks, almost immediately within 3 weeks, it spread to his brain. I watched him go from 200 pounds to 110 to 85 pounds, take him to these appointments. They gave this guy a jug, like a half gallon of liquid Vicodin. Like, it's painful when they're giving you just stuff like that. And when they went and did it, but he was in a nursing home within 3 weeks. And he couldn't see, he got dizzy, and then he was just gone. So I support any kind of cancer thing I can. It's rough. It was the worst time of my life. That was about 8 years ago now. Yeah. So again, I'm so sorry for whoever is battling cancer in our audience, and I love you guys. Dex, thank you so much for your service tonight. I appreciate you.
Much love. Great job, brother.
And I lost a good friend of mine that was a bouncer, biggest, buffest, strongest, healthiest 24-year-old. He ended up dying of lung cancer, didn't smoke a day in his life. My dad died of lung cancer, but it was complications from AIDS and HIV back in the day when Magic Johnson was the only one with money to live. Now people live with it and even have unprotected sex with it. It's crazy. Whereas my dad, if they had the medication then for Magic Johnson, for him, he would still be here today. It's just absolute madness. He never smoked a day in his life, got lung cancer from that as well. It's just horrendous. All right, you guys, have a great night. Be safe, be prepared, and Marf out. Love ya. Thank the mods by dropping them in the chat and going over and checking out marfooglenews.com/friends. Again, great site with all of our awesome mods. It is now time for the shoutro. It's not an outro. It's not a shout out. It's a shoutro. I'm bringing in a big
everybody get up, everybody, 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 everybody,